Being a soldier, Brooks had never been prevented from boarding a plane before. Tears were still streaming down his face when was stopped. "Stop! Don't let him board that plane." The other passengers crowded around him, and a haze of chattering voices blared around him. As the words rang out, Brooks felt a surge of emotion pass through him. People delay flight when they hear why soldier is boarding. When Brooks Lindsay of Jackson, Mississippi met his wife Haley, the couple's love felt like a whirlwind romance. It wasn't long after marriage that the couple was blessed with exciting news: they were expecting their first child. However, Brooks had enlisted as a soldier and his career was taking off. He knew that this meant he'd have to make sacrifices in the future. He just never realized how much some of them would hurt. Soon after learning that Haley was pregnant, Brooks received his papers and learned that he was destined for a 9-month-long deployment to Kuwait. The couple hastily did some calculations and realized that he would be cutting it close to the time when their daughter was due. As Haley reached the 7-month point of her pregnancy, the young couple got some sad news. Before shipping out to Kuwait, Brooks would first have to undergo special training. For this, he would have to fly out to Texas, and the timing couldn't have been worse. The period when Brooks would need to be in Texas clashed with the baby's due date. Hoping to find some way around this, the couple began looking into other options. After making some inquiries, Brooks learned that the Red Cross did have a process that provided special leave for soldiers to be there for the birth of their children. This gave Brooks and Haley new hope. However, when the couple looked at the requirements to apply for that type of leave, they were left crestfallen. There was no way around it. The Red Cross process only granted this kind of leave in special circumstances, where it could be medically proven that either the mother, the baby, or both were in distress. No father in their right mind would ever hope for such a thing to happen. Brooks, therefore, had to face the painful realization that he'd have to miss the birth of his child. When the time came for Brooks to fly out for his training, it was a tearful goodbye. The couple did their best to stay in touch in between Brooks' grueling training regiments. FaceTime became their best friend as they planned for the big day. It was confirmed that the couple was going to have a daughter, and they both decided on the name, Millie, for their little girl. However, all too soon, a serious problem arose. Haley had been sticking to her routine checkups and so far everything had been going well. However, during her last checkup, the doctor noticed some complications. Haley was told that she would have to come in for delivery earlier than anticipated. Brooks stayed in contact with her and on the day in question, things got worse. When Brooks checked in with the doctor on the day, he was informed that there were further complications and they would need to rush Haley in as the baby was in distress. Although deeply worried about his wife and daughter, Brooks also realized that this twist of fate meant he could now apply for special leave to be there with them. The Red Cross process was agonizing and required a written confirmation from the doctor first. Once confirmed, Brooks rushed to the DFW airport and finally got a connecting flight by way of El Paso. However, fate cruelly intervened once again. The flight was delayed and there was now no way that Brooks would make it on time. Still in his fatigues, the soldier sat against a wall near the terminal, staring at his phone screen. He began to cry uncontrollably. The crestfallen soldier drew many stares from other passengers. When he explained his situation, the people around him were very sympathetic. Back at the hospital, Brooks' mother took his place in the delivery room. Also heartbroken that her son was missing the birth of Millie, she decided to do something about it. Despite protests from the doctor, who eventually allowed it, she took her phone in and FaceTimed Brooks. To Brooks' delight, he could now also witness the birth. Unfortunately, the flight was now boarding. Brooks would have to soon switch his phone off, and Millie still wasn't born. Pitying him, the other passengers tried their best to delay boarding, but, eventually, they were all out of time. The flight crew instructed Brooks to switch off his phone. With a broken heart, he was just about to when he heard the doctor suddenly shout, "Stop! Don't let him board that plane. She's here. She's here." Brooks' face lit up with excitement when he heard this. Other passengers were enthralled by his situation, and cheers rang out for him. Some of them explained what was happening to the flight crew, and Brooks was graciously allowed a few moments to witness the big moment. After the emotional rollercoaster of a day, Brooks finally got to experience what he had been dreaming of for so long. Finally, his little girl was born and he was able to see it all. Despite the complications and distress Millie faced, the doctor's quick action resulted in a smooth birth and baby Millie was born in perfect health. Being able to witness her coming into the world filled Brooks' heart with joy, and he wore a smile on his face for the rest of the day. Now there was just one thing left to do. Finally, the twice-delayed flight boarded, and the flight turned out to be a pleasant one for all on board. So many other passengers had shared in Brooks' tension that day that his personal joy was shared by them all. With positive vibes all around, everyone relaxed and enjoyed the flight. Brooks settled in and awaited his next big moment, knowing that soon, he would be able to finally meet his daughter in person too. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.